Joining us now is Kachi Ofia with stories trending from around the world. Good morning, Kachi. Good to see you.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Adesua. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, viewers. Let's begin with the hot topics today in What's Trending, where a group of 31 lawyers from northern Nigeria on Wednesday have volunteered to render free legal services to the former commander of the Inspector General of Police, of course, Intelligence Response Unit, Abba Kyari. Now, the spokesperson of the group, Sunusi Bapa Salisu, in a statement said that the volunteer lawyers were drawn across the 19 northern states and, of course, religions. Well, according to him, the pro bono was in response to calls for support for Kyari by the coalition of northern groups. The spokesperson also said the lawyers volunteered to render free legal services for the preservation of Kyari's fundamental rights. Now, that might be potentially jeopardized by his alleged indictment by a court in the United States of America. Now, briefly, reactions to this have been very, very swift, and it tilts towards one direction. The fact that about 19 different regions have come together to put together 31 lawyers to defend Abba Kyari against this indictment, to protect his fundamental rights. But then you think of the numerous people wasting away in prisons, even within those states where they were pulled from, who have been looking for pro bono lawyers as well to also help in defending their fundamental rights against things as well that, apparently they didn't do. Of course, they would have to be proven guilty. But for some reason, those pro bono lawyers are unavailable. So it's interesting to see how the power play here can easily pull out these 31 lawyers, to defend Abba Kyari against this type of situation. Somebody who, based on what we know, can well afford any lawyer of any caliber to defend him.
Well, I'm happy that he has that number of lawyers ready to come to his rescue. But one thing is certain, the FBI doesn't care where your lawyer is coming from, if it's from the north, the south, Jupiter, Earth, or wherever, Mars. But what I find disturbing is how we have this habit, and it happens over and over again in Nigeria. We have this habit of, rather than allow the accused persons face the justice system, we find a way to ethnicize or politicize it, like he's our own. Even if he's accused, we'll take him, because when you say 31 northern lawyers, that's the feel and vibe I get from this, to say he's our own and we're going to protect him regardless of what they've said he has done. That I find disturbing for me, and it's recurring. It's not just in this instance. We've seen it happen over and over again.
Okay, one, a lawyer can deploy his services the way he deems fit, whether he's going to be paid for it or he will do it pro bono, and he can choose a case that he wants to take up or not take up. Second clarification, I do not imagine that these lawyers are talking about the case in the district court in California. I don't think any one of them has a license to practice in California. Maybe perhaps there will be any one of them who has a license to practice in the state of California. Maybe, just maybe. What I imagine they're talking about is the request for extradition when eventually it arrives, because there are two legs to it. There is the Nigerian jurisdiction. If the Nigerian jurisdiction does not give him up for extradition, it won't happen. So, and that's why I said when this case first came up, that it's going to be a long process. So now these lawyers, they brought themselves together to say when there is that request for extradition, they will be willing and ready to appear on behalf of Abba Kyari in court. And they've already stated the grounds on which they want to defend them. They say under Section 36 of the 1999 Constitution, and they are correct. That Section 36 talks about the right to fair hearing. A man is presumed innocent until he's proven guilty, and they believe that his rights under that section of the Constitution must be defended. Part of the rights is that he is entitled to lawyers. So they can go ahead and defend him either before the police investigating panel or if the matter comes up in court. They are also insisting on procedural breaches by FBI as one of the grounds on which they will, prepare their defense. and they are quoting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 6 and 7 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Well, they can save the fire in that regard until the matter comes up in court. 31 lawyers from the North, and they say they are responding to concerns expressed by the Conference of Coalition of Northern Groups. You recall that before now, the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, the Coalition of Northern Groups, and some other groups from the North claimed, they alleged publicly, that Abba Kyari is being persecuted because he's a Northern star. And some of them even say, oh, it's because he's a Muslim. You know, we'll be right to say we don't see that connection. FBI is not talking about ethnicity. FBI is not talking about religion. But this is a reflection of what happens in Nigeria. Everything is reduced to region, to ethnicity, to kinsmanship. It's very unfortunate, but what we have seen here, with all the lawyers coming from only one part of the country, is an illustration of that particular dilemma in Nigeria. But perhaps maybe along the line, we'll probably have other lawyers from other parts of the country joining, also pro bono or as amicus curiae, since we're told that Abba Kyari has friends from other parts. But we need to be concerned about the ethnic and religious coloration of what is being proposed.
For me, I'll say let's call it spade a spade. This national hypocrisy of sectionalization must stop. We can't build a country this way. We have put everything in sections. And that's why when you even see the calls for federal character, you look what is happening here. It is not about competence any longer. If a man has done something wrong, let the court prove that. You can get him legal services for his extradition. I don't care about that. But why are there calls from a northern part in this country that say, don't touch him, it's our own? So because it's your own, if somebody does something wrong and there are evidence against him, people shouldn't speak again in the country? Just like you say the same of people in some parts of the eastern part of the country, people say it's our own. We ethnicize everything. So I say for this crime that has federal character, do we also get a bunch of Yoruba lawyers to defend Hush Puppy? Do we also get Igbo lawyers to defend Valentine? We can't build a country this way. We can't build a country on the grounds of hypocrisy. Let truth and justice reign. I am not saying he is guilty. Let the court take its course and find him guilty. You can represent him, but this idea of a sectional group of people coming to represent, because of what? He was a shining star in the police force. But he lost the star with these allegations. People go up and go down. That's the way life is. If you want to keep being a shining star, you put your hands out of the cookie jar. Are we going to say because somebody was a shining star, he has done bad, we will not look at all the things he had done? Or are we going to say because we want to close our eye away from all of these allegations because he used to crack down at kidnappers in the past? What kind of country are we building? What kind of sentimental country are we building? This stinks. This hypocrisy is smelly. It's worse than a regurgitating toilet. We can't build a country this way. If he has done something wrong, let him face it. If the court says he's innocent, then he's innocent. So for every crime now, we're going to say sectionality. Maybe someday so very in this country, maybe if Boko Haram people are taken to court, we'll say, okay, northern lawyers will defend them. Or southern lawyers will defend them? What country are we building? Nigeria is one strong country. At First World Conference is a Nigerian. And when somebody does good, we praise him. If he has done wrong, we speak truth to power, say you've done wrong, you could learn, you could get better. That's how we build a country.
Well, the only other question to ask is that these lawyers, referred to as northern lawyers, have they breached any professional ethics? I don't think so. But we can use the fact that they are all from one area to talk about the complexity of ethnic relations in Nigeria. But professionally, as officers in the temple of justice, the court is not going to look at where they are coming from. So, and that was why I said a lawyer can choose what case he wants to take on, what issue he wants to deal with, and whether he will be paid for it or he will do it pro bono. But to see officers in the temple of justice saying that they are responding to concerns expressed by ethnic and sociocultural associations, is just what we can express concern about as a reflection of the kind of politics we play. But as officers in the temple of justice, if they like, all of them can come from one village. Anyway, Kachi, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back to you. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News Channel. We're still on What's Trending with Kachi Ofia. Kachi, okay, fire on.
Absolutely. Let's go. Now, the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, took teachers in Baga by surprise on Monday by conducting an impromptu aptitude test. Now, he conducted the test for 65 teachers in the Kukawa local government area of the state. He also explained that the test was not conducted to dismiss the teachers, but to determine their competence. According to Zulum, those who failed to qualify will be redeployed to the administrative department or enrolled for further training. And after reviewing their performance on the aptitude test, Zulum announced the package of 20,000 naira and 10 yards of fabric for each teacher, while the principal of the senior secondary school and the primary school head teacher got 50,000 naira and 10 yards of fabric, respectively. While the governors also said the evaluation exercise for teachers and pupils would be conducted annually. There's a lot to talk. This is a great thing. Let's start by putting that out there. This is a good thing. The aptitude test, ensuring the teachers are, up to standard is great. If you remember when the president of Nigeria went into his hometown to commission that agric plant that, they had set up to putting together integrated farming, and we saw the placard the students were holding, it had a couple of grammatical errors. And obviously those grammatical errors were written by the teachers. So it's a good thing. However, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 in a nation where people are earning far more for doing so much less. How inspirational is this? I don't think anyone would even be inspired to aspire to be a teacher in any of these states. That is why you have NYSC coppers. They hear, oh, you've been posted to this location to serve. And it's a depressing news because this is what you have to look up to. 20,000 naira and fabric. Probably making that fabric would take all the money.
Well, Kachi, that was very even recent, the placard by students during the president's visit. But I do remember, and I think everybody knows this, the Kaduna case, where aptitude tests were set for teachers of primary 4 school level, and most of them failed it. But I think this is very vintage. Governor Zulum should be commended. He's one of those governors who does not rely on reports brought back to him by his subordinates. He goes to ensure, he feels the pulse, to be in the know. And so springing up that surprise in a school is very vintage of him. We've seen it different times. But I agree that this is a component of our education we do not pay enough attention to. The teachers, we're not paying enough attention to it. You raise one of the problems. But we also face shortages in teacher shortages. We face quality when it comes to the standard. What quality of teachers are we having? What has happened to the teacher training colleges across the country? Can we boast of them? But I must also add welfare, which is the challenge you have raised, Kachi. So it's important we look at all of this. We cannot compete on a global stage. We cannot be among committee of nations and we pay lip service to our education, and particularly, again, that component of education we do not pay enough attention to, the teachers.
Teaching used to be a very noble profession in this country. The village headmaster was part of the aristocracy of the community. He was so respected. People will go and give the teacher food. So respected, people will send their children to live with teachers and the headmaster. So respected, and some people, reportedly, and this is not fictional, gave their daughters to teachers to marry in appreciation. But today, the teaching profession is ridiculed. Teachers are no longer taken seriously. Even government is not committed to these teachers. So all of this will have to start in terms of how did we do it in the past? In the past, at a point, Nigeria prioritized education. Many of these teachers that you see taking an aptitude test, some of them probably did not pass teacher training colleges. Some of them probably have not had any training in, either assessment or pedagogy or any of the test measurement aspects of education. And now, the governor, having realized that this is a problem, don't forget, Professor Babagana Zulum himself is an educationist. But let's go back a bit to 2017, the drama in Kaduna, when Governor Nasir El-Rufai decided to set aptitude tests for about 33,000 teachers, primarily 4 tests. These teachers, 22,000 of them failed. In fact, most of those 22,000 did not even know the name of the governor of the state. And the governor got so angry, he said he was going to sack them. It caused an uproar, but at the end of the day, it was agreed that those who wanted their scripts regraded should come forward. Those who have done more than 5 years should just honorably go back home and retire. So since then, in Kaduna State, aptitude tests have been conducted every year for teachers, and every year is the same story. That's why the training of teachers is very important. Welfare is important, but what is the quality of teachers that we are producing? Now, in the case of Governor Zulum promised that anybody that failed would not necessarily be sacked, that such a person will be redeployed or sent for further training. So he was a bit lenient in his own case. And then at the end of the day, which is a part of it that I don't understand, the teachers were given monetary gifts. They were also given brocade materials. 5 years for some people, 10 years for some people. If you were a principal of a school or a headmaster, you got 50,000 in addition. What is that in aid of? They should be properly paid and not given clothes. And in any case, Governor Zulum says he will be conducting the aptitude test on a yearly basis or whenever it's convenient for him. That is not the job of governors. Because you could see the governor there, he has turned himself into an exam invigilator. He should have more important things to do. There used to be in various states the inspectorate division of schools. We used to have school inspectors coming around, looking at the teachers. The teachers kept attendance register. They will look at everything. What has happened to the inspectorate division? That the chief executive of the state will now turn himself into an exam invigilator. I'm surprised he doesn't have a cane with him, because usually those invigilators, they will carry a cane. So they should strengthen the inspectorate division in the various states. And this may be the case in Kaduna and Borno State. I'm sure that in many other states, either in the north or in the south, there will be teachers who are not up to it. Many of them are now selling pepper soup during school hours. Some of them sell biscuits to students. Some of them sell sweets. Some of them even carry a boiled granite and they sell to supplement salary. That is how bad the situation is.
In fact, some of them bring a goosey, melon to the school and allow the students be breaking melon for them. It's appalling, Kachi. There is nothing to commend anybody about. In fact, it is a joke what our education system has become, that a governor is the one conducting aptitude tests. We should cry for ourselves in this country. And in a country where primary school completion rate has dropped, what we now do now is to grandstand. Kaduna State Governor conduct aptitude tests. That was how I think Governor Mechi then, when in Rivers State, he came to put it on television, was asking teachers questions, were a big joke in Nigeria. As at this point in time, we should have a board that grades teachers. So if our teachers can't even pass primary 4 exam, how would they teach the generation yet unborn? I would say we want to improve on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. Teaching is a big deal. For you averagely to be a teacher in Finland, you must have a master's in teaching. Teaching is taken critically, but it's a joke here because the state does not believe in it. That's why we can't even map out a curriculum, a pedagogical thought on teaching, the roadmap for teaching and education of our young people. So this is nothing worth commendation. In fact, it's an appalling thing. We should cover ourselves in shame. How many days have you seen Barack Obama go and conduct aptitude tests for teachers in America, or state governor of New York conduct teacher aptitude tests? You see, it's because the institutions have failed. That's why grandstanding, big manism becomes the order of the day of Nigeria. And the state governor says, okay, how can I show off? Let me go and shake the teachers a bit. Institutions are supposed to do that. Kachi, in Spain, There was no central government for 540 days, and Spain ran successfully. So institutions have failed, and that's why big men feel they are the owners of the country. We should change that. This is appalling. This is criminal. This is something we should cry about. And we have Subeb that collects heavy votes for primary school education. Nothing is being done. We have teacher training college. Go to teacher training college. I'm sure it's worse than the picture we showed about Unizik, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. It's worse than that. We don't put money in education. We don't put money in teaching in teaching and retraining our teachers. Our teachers don't even know the conventional method. In fact, being a teacher today is because when you look for a job, you don't get a job. That's when you go into teaching. It's the easiest job to get in this country with pittance salary and pay. If we want to evolve as a nation, we must go back and build teachers and make them, an important tool of national development and integration. Every world leader had a teacher.
I completely agree with you, Rufai.
We have forgotten that in this country.
These are issues in our educational system. Teaching should be a prestigious job because it's one that involves the lives of children, the leaders of tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Well, let's take our final story now, where drama seems to be brewing in a church in Rivers State after a church member, Bright Ben, accused his pastor, Moses Adeyo, of snatching his wife, Tina Bright, who he has been married to for 12 years. Now, Bright made public the situation on his Facebook page after the pastor of World Bank Assembly International took to the social media platform to announce his wedding to his new bride with the tag, "Thank you, Jesus, for making all things beautiful in his time." Bright also noted that the pastor, Adeyo, is also married with 4 children, so this woman will be his second wife. Now, the pastor who wedded Tina in his church said the Holy Spirit told him the married woman is his real wife.
Well, Kachio, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I would have loved to do a detailed commentary on this case of coquetry, involving a pastor and the various dimensions of it. Okay, maybe the story will come up another day. Thank you very much, Kachi.